Hello, everyone. This is Nikki, you also known as Faces Trader, and you're watching the awesome 10x Live for Philippine Market Update. It is August 26, 2020. It is already a Thursday. Oops, sorry. It is a Wednesday. Okay, so this Wednesday, let us discuss what happened in the Philippine market. The Philippine market is down to 5,931 points. Your index is down 22 points. You've got a slew of winners and sellers, but more selling. Let's take a look at your index. Your market value still stands at 4.8 billion pesos. We haven't cracked that 5 to 7 billion mark, but your advancers and decliners are still at par. So you have advancers 101, you've got decliners 89, your foreign net selling is 600 million, which shows continuous selling in the Philippine market. Your holdings are up. Let's take a look for each sector. So your index went down, then closed up. All shares went down, then closed up. Financials went down, closed up. Your industrials fell all the way down. Your holdings went down, but closed higher. Properties continued to fall. Mining went up, but slightly took profits. And then services went down, but in the end, it recovered. So from your index movers and losers, your gainers are your MPI, 4% up, JGS, 2% up, Meralco is 2% up. For your largest losers, you've got URC down 2%, Ayala Corp down 1.98%, Robinson's Retail is down 1.86%, your SM Prime is down 1.8%, Jollibee is down 1.77%. Take a look at our stats. Top gainers, we've got in the top gainers, Manila Water up 6%, now closing at 14 pesos. So the stable name has gone up 6%. Not bad, closing at 14 pesos. You've got, we'll see the charts later on. Let's take a look at your index, of course, your stats. Other than your Manila Water, the rest of the winners are your stable guys. So MPI up 4% to 333, and mostly just that. Now, in your worst losers, which was the biggest loser, Mary Mart is the biggest loser today with about 4% down. Mary Mart is down to 308. So you've got some selling pressure from 320 up. You've got DNL also being sold down. There is a blockade selling DNL. Now it's trading at 4.7. You also got some selling on URC at 142 up. There are sellers, 2% down, now back to 139. With Ayala Corporation, we are also seeing Ayala Corp down 2%, down to about 717 pesos. Robinson's Retail trimmed a bit from 70 to 68.7. And then SM Prime breaks that 30 peso mark down to 29.50. In your most active space, you've got more losers than winners. Losers are SM Prime, Ayala Land, BDO is now 86.95. Telephone at the very least is 14.40, so still hanging on to that uptrend at 1400. You are see some profit taking here at 139. And then, of course, your AREIT, your Ayala REIT is just stable there at 26. So it's still slightly down for the IPO from the IPO price of 27, but it's just steady sleeping in that range. And we expect actually for Ayala REIT to sleep for about 2 to 3 years doing nothing and just really collecting dividends as a REIT normally is. Manila Water is 6% up, 14.1. Globe is to 130. So mostly the ranges of the Philippines are pretty narrow at about 2%, 3%. Very little range except for Manila Water that had a 6% move. From an analytics perspective, I'd say that only in the watch list, so really very few gainers. So very few gainers, just Manila Water. Let's take a look at Manila Water's chart. So let's read also some news later on. But for Manila Water, what is the news on Manila Water? Material informations and transactions, please. Manila Water is saying that due to the recurring losses and the inability to financially sustain their business operations, their wholly owned subsidiary, Manila Water Total Solutions, is now permanently closing the Healthy Family Business Division effective October 31. So the company has been exceptionally providing affordable purified drinking water for years. However, due to the increasing competition in the bottled water industry, the company has ceased to operate this business, so they're gonna close that down, that business. So that is a closure. So the company is closing down its bottled water business, and the market is rejoicing on that closure of one of their businesses. Let's take a look at Manila Water. Now you might wonder why a closure of a business is something that the market loves. Actually, the more SSI closes stores, the more a company that is a brick and mortar or any department store closing down their stores and malls, it is seen more as a good thing because they are fixing their costs and being more efficient with their operations, especially if it's not a huge revenue generating company in that subsidiary. So the market wants focus. They don't want you to be too spread out for Manila Water. The goal really for Manila Water is on the east and west concession zones. No? So Manila Water continues to have a resistance here at 15. We did note that we said that about 12 below, if it was going to fall, that there will be a lot of buyers, 13 to 12. It did pan out today at 14. But don't expect too much from Manila Water. You'd still see some resistance at 15. A few names to show you. Of course, holding firms went up today. Which holding firm went up? MPI went up. So MPI today gave a first buy signal with some volume. So I'd say that MPI has been carving out a stronger higher low here at 3 pesos. And today's rally from 320 to 330, I think that is just a sign of stability. So we don't expect Manila Water nor MPI to move 20% higher immediately, but we do see that the downside is quite covered here at about 3 to 330. So should this rise to 360 or 390, expect some selling. However, Metro Pacific is, of course, the owner of Meralco and also the owner of Telephone. And you could see that all of these charts, Meralco, Telephone, and of course, the owner of, so mostly utility firms, have been really stable. Now, who's the owner of Manila Water? That would be Ayala Corp. However, Ayala Corp has already outperformed. As you could see, Ayala Corp has a steady resistance here at 800 and so far having a hard time at 770, but very strong support here for Ayala Corp either at 640 or 680. So should Ayala Corp fall down about 5 to 10% lower, you might see some buyers hopping in within this level. Whether it goes down from 720 all the way to 660, I'd say that Ayala Corp has a buyer there. Now, of course, in the mining sector, let's take a look at each one of them. Nicolasia continues their uptrend. Their FNI would have been still up. So this has been the third day up for FNI. It has broken out with volume here at 110. And so far, we are seeing that the resistance can be as far as 140, 150. So those who have FNI should continue to hold on to their winner. Nicolasia, the same thing. Hold on to your winner. Even if you're selling at about 320 or 325, do note that it might be very hard to get 275 below. As for some winners, we have seen URC, some slight profit taking here at 145. So some people are buying and selling here at 150, 149, 145. Chances are they'd like to buy at 125 to 130. However, we aren't sure if the market will actually give URC down that low. Let's take a look at your banks. Your banks have been sold down. Of course, Metro Bank is now down back to 33.85. Is 33.85 a good support? Well, we have seen a triple support here at 33. So with low downside and potentially a 20 to 30% upside, I'd say that the financials are damaged, but I don't think that it's a zero. So same thing for the holding company of Metro Bank, which is GT Cap. You are seeing it supported here at about 400 or 385. So any drops from 400 to 360, 10% downside, maybe it could 30% upside. So the bulls still have the risk-reward ratio going for them. We did see yesterday that Robinson's Retail was strong, and then today we've got some profit taking. Do note that Robinson's Retail continues to be strong. It could actually rally back to 72 to 75 to even 80. So as long as the trend is your friend, you can still hold on to this. It is seen that at 65 is a higher low for this name. Now, for Robinson's Retail, you have URC. Of course, the holding firm is JG Summit. You are seeing JG Summit getting supported at 60. It's now 64. Any drops of JG Summit at 60, you do have some buyers there. There's not a lot of companies to talk about in the Philippines. I think there is news. What are the news? Let's read some news. Pretty much consolidating lang, no? Stable lang. Let's read some news. AC, Material Information and Transaction. Ayala Corp is saying that, okay, so they're saying that PCC approval for Trident Water's 25% stake in Manila Water. So Trident Holdings, Trident Water, has recently approval from the Philippine Competition Commission for the acquisition of 51% voting interest in Manila Water Company. As previously disclosed, Trident Water is going to acquire a 25% stake in Manila Water. Ayala remains a shareholder with a 38.6% stake. And then Philwater subsidiary Trident Water has approved the grant of proxy rights to enable the latter achieving a 51% voting interest to Trident Water. So I think Trident Water is the Razon ba? Razon arm, is that it? Let me see. Trident Water. Manila Water. So that is Razon, indeed. So we do note that Razon has bought a stake in Manila Water that has been widely given and already known. So that's really one of the reasons why Manila Water has also risen today to 6% up now. So this is just an affirmation that the new owner, which is Razon, is clearly the one with the majority interest here, 51% voting rights. So let's read this together. Trident Water is now 51% voting interest with Ayala Group's Manila Water. That tells you why Manila Water is up, and of course Ayala Corp is down because they have lost a little bit of their share with Manila Water. PCC noted that Manila Water subsidiary Philwater is likely set to grant proxy in favor of Trident Water, achieving a 51%. Okay, so they are the sole water distributor in the East Zone geographic market. Manila Water has a captive customer base on concession agreement with Manila Water Works and Sewerage Systems. So Trident Water is a subsidiary of PMHI. Range of business interests include hotel and gaming, mining, infrastructure, power generation, distribution, and port services. So this is really Razon's company. So Manila Water continues to be having the exclusive rights, providing water services to the eastern zone of Metro Manila through a concession agreement with the government. So I think this is more clarity on less government intervention on just water services. So that's one of the reasons why Manila Water has shot up. How much did Razon pay for the Manila Water stake? Let's take a look. I think it was 15 or was it 13? Here at the price of 13 peso per share. So Razon Infrastructure invested 10 billion pesos. That was the Prima Water. And that was February 3, 2020. Today is already August. And then that would be 2 plus 6, so 8. So 6 months. It took 6 months for that news to be finalized. And that is the reason why Manila Water has been up today. Now, let's take a look at other material information. AGI continues their buyback program. SM material information. Let's read this together now. Your SM is proposing a bond. They are planning to issue a 30 billion peso bond program, and then they will share this detail in the next few months or next few days. So this is something that every company in the Philippines has done, take advantage of cheap money globally, and they did do that. So I think that is a good news for SM, but it's not something that we should definitely be cheering about because SM today is already trading at 887. So it has already risen. But for those who don't want to buy too much, too premium, it just goes to tell you that SM is adamant to win this e-commerce game, even in a COVID pandemic. So SM, I think, is allotting some of those proceeds of the 30 billion pesos to really grow their e-commerce front. And I think that in the future, SM will still dominate that market share, the same way a lot of Walmarts, Targets, Costco's have done successfully, even in the midst of Amazon. So I think that is really where the SM proceeds are. I think you could read that in the material information. where they want to deploy that 30 billion peso bond. Actually, you can read it more in the news. SM bond offering. They have been saying that this was March, this is March. So, and they just really finalized it. So, other than making a mall, I'm pretty sure that most of that offering will now go into e-commerce front. So, mostly e-commerce. So, that should be good for SM. Um, so yeah, I think like I finished most of the most important things for the Philippine market. I'll just read a few questions. Questions today. I opened IBKR account, but I still don't have a dollar account. Planning to buy the Ant Financial IPO. The Ant Financial IPO is actually a subsidiary inside Alibaba. And for those who aren't in the know, Alibaba is listed already in the market as BABA. So Alibaba is also listed in the US. So and so far, this has already gone up from about 260 to 286, or about 10%, with final clarity on the Ant Financial IPO. So after being sold down heavily here at 265, we now see that 265 is acting as a support, especially since also Tencent has also been cleared to operate back with US customers. So that was the gap up here and continues strongly today at 550. So I think all that Chinese noise has already been dissipated after 3 days. There is a question: is Ant Financial an awesome 10x pick? In general, I do like secular trend winners on the payment space, whether it be Visa, MasterCard. For those who aren't in the know, we have to we have to understand that awesome 10x picks are about secular trend winners. And Financial has been a mature company, but it really depends how much the valuation will be. Because if you're buying it already at $200 billion, it is a very difficult thing to do at $2 trillion. Although it depends on how long the time frame is. So it's more of a time frame, and Ant hasn't been listed yet. So usually, I'll tell you what, inside Interactive Brokers, although there is trading and IPO, I don't necessarily get IPO allocation even if I try to subscribe. So it's typical for the Philippines as well. Retail investors don't generally get IPO allocation even if we want to subscribe. So normally what I do is I wait for it to be listed, and then I just wait for the market valuation to be comfortable for me to enter, and that's how I really do it. Either I own Alibaba, which is already an indirect a play for Ant Financial, or I just really like Ant Financial per se and will wait for it when it's already listed. Please tell us all about Alibaba stock price history. Alibaba has already gone 4,000x. So this started as a $100 million company in the private equity world. 20% stake of Alibaba was owned by SoftBank, Masayoshi Son. We have featured 9984. This is a company that you can buy who owns Alibaba. 20% stake of Alibaba is owned by SoftBank Group. SoftBank Group has successfully invested in many of the largest companies that you know today, whether it be TikTok, Grab, and Financial, Alibaba. So he invested in Jack Ma, 20% stake, about 20 years ago, 2000 and I think it was 2000 or even less than 2000. So 1999 or 1997, something like that. So from a $100 million company, of course, Alibaba today is a $400 billion or $500 billion company. I think it's a $500 billion company already. So yes, Alibaba has already made 5,000 times his money. So for you to make 10x, it's kind of hard because Masayoshi Son is the winner here. So if you want to actually win with Masayoshi Son, why don't you just buy 9984? Which is actually something that we have been discussing quite a while. So I knew about this Ant Financial quite a while. This IPO isn't something like yesterday or 2 days ago. In fact, if you've been buying Alibaba due to the Ant Financial, you've been up 40%. Because the news about Ant Financial was like $200 Alibaba. So I think like if you're buying Alibaba today, you're kind of late. So it was somewhere here at 190 185 to 200. The first news on the Ant Financial spin-off. So I'm just being blunt here. I'm not saying that Alibaba is not going to go up. It's just that if you're buying it merely for the Ant Financial, you're paying about 40% premium, even from the Baba spin-off itself. There's a question, how to subscribe to the IPO of Ant. You can buy it through US brokerage firms. You have Schwab, you've got Interactive Brokers, Ameritrade, E-Trade, all of these online brokerage firms. But it's really hard to get subscription. It doesn't have to be, it's when I buy IPOs, usually I just buy it from the market if I really want it. There's a question, any insight on Apex Mining? Why is Philex Mining overtaking Apex Mining? It's not about outperformance. Sometimes like FNI has outperformed more than Nicolasia. Just because Nickel Play went 300% up and Nicolasia went to like 100% up doesn't mean that the other guy was better or had more revenues. So it's really dependent on how the market wants to trade the company. Let's take a look at the companies that he asked me. Philex Mining, of course, is a conduit of your gold because the question though is how much money did Philex Mining actually earn from their gold reserves? So I think like you have to ask yourself, in fact, if you really want to trade gold, sometimes there are better alternatives, which is really just through physical gold instead of like gold stocks. Either way, what happened to gold XAU USD? That is your gold dollar. So it's 1930 actually. So it hasn't really risen. So Philex Mining is being pushed without yet the gold correlation. And Apex Mining hasn't gone up because it is quite just really being correlated with gold. So you can actually compare that, compare Apex plus the symbol. You compare Apex with Philex Mining, and then you compare it with XAU USD, which is your gold. So you could see that from the time frame, yes, indeed, it looks like, yeah, so Apex Mining is here. What is my blue line? Gold is up 27% year to date. Meanwhile, your Philex Mining is just up 1% year to date. So I think you have to understand that Philex Mining has some resistances, no? So if you bought Philex Mining during November, tanggalin na natin mga comparison. I'll just show to you the chart itself. Philex Mining here is, so if you bought it in November, that was here. And right now, you're just back to break even. So you didn't really make money, except if you bought at March or April or May or June of this year. So, yun. So I think like there is still a resistance for Philex Mining. Take note that these are your resistances. Resistance means selling pressure. So you've got some selling pressure here at about 360, 380, 420, $4. So I'd be careful about this move on Philex Mining if I were you. What else is the question? Grow generations are being charged of wrongdoing. Stock fell. Yes, I discussed that already. I discussed that on the global market updates. You can actually see all of my videos here in Awesome 10X channel. I also have my Faceless Trader. That is my profile. This is Faceless Trader. All of the things have been discussed. If you have been watching our shows, in case you missed it, so I discussed Grow Generation, the ups, downs, and the really everything inside my Awesome 10X circle. In fact, it's also inside the YouTube channel. So Grow Generation, we had a buy call at 12 to 9. That was Friday. We even bought at 1680 despite that Hindenburg scathing report. Of course, I also sold at 15 and 16. It's all documented here. So people who said that I didn't discuss the Grow Generation fiasco, maybe you've missed these videos. So I suggest that you watch those videos because that really is an update. So that is an update. I think that Grow Generation has some selling pressure at about 15, 16, 17. But if it goes like $9 or $10, you probably have a lot of names to buy. So it's really a buy. Eugene is asking, should we still buy Grow? I've sold. I've sold 15, 16. I have some selling at about 16, 17, 18. But I will trade it if it falls like 9. I would buy it at 9 to 12 if it falls there. But it's not really a priority because I have so many winners. So I did discuss that if you go to my Awesome 10X channel, I've got a lot of Awesome 10X picks. So I think the most mistakes of people that I notice is that they usually just buy one stock. And so if you are wrong in one stock, it's like your whole world already collapsed, which is really not how you should be buying or holding or trading. It's not really a recipe for any winner. You can see that in Awesome 10X, most of our clients are winners because we allocate 5% of our position in any company. That means that we do own about 20 stocks. So actually right now, growth generation is less than 3% of my portfolio because I have trimmed. So I could reduce it to 0 if I want to. Well, there's a question, what are hit and run stocks in the Philippines today? There's not a lot of Philippine stocks to buy. We did see some MPI buying at 3 pesos to 3.30. So I guess at 3 to 3.30, you might want to buy that. Pero I don't think there's a lot of stocks to buy in the Philippines. I'd suggest that you go listen to my Awesome 10X Global Market Update. And then I'll discuss to you some US stocks that you can actually buy other than growth generation, because growth generation, I've already sold this, sold it. So of course, if you are charged of some Hindenburg scathing report, and if the management is being accused of wrongdoings, it's gonna be confused. So even if I like gardening, I think that there are a lot of companies that are, doing well, secular trend wise. So that is one reason why I eliminated my growth generation for the meantime, for the short term. Yun. So I have a reason to sell it, but I have also reasons to buy it. It just depends on what price I want to buy. So that's really how I do it. That's it. Thank you very much. I do think that you have been buying companies that we have been discussing inside the Awesome 10X channel, because we do feature quite a lot of companies that went up, like SunPower went 35% up. Vuzi went like 250 to 490. If it goes down to 350, it's actually a good buy. And actually last night it went to 370. C Limited is 155, continues to go stronger. So I think like all you guys have to do is diversify, great trends. And really, it's impossible to lose money if you are properly diversified and if you have a system. You just don't need to buy one stock, one price. You just have to really, I say, buy 20 stocks, because you will be surprised. You'll make 100% owning 20 stocks rather than 2 stocks. So really, that's really how you do it. For Eugene, who wants to ask interactive brokers, I really suggest that you go to awesome10x.com. That's really how I try to help a lot of our Filipino out there, no? So awesome10x.com. Let me just reach out to everyone who aren't aware. Awesome10x.com. Yes, this is a paid channel, paid site. You would see all of our picks inside the courses. You'll learn how to invest properly. You learn how to make money globally. Inside Awesome 10X, you've got courses there. And then you'll see a lot of the great companies that you will learn from. Inside the inner circle, you'd understand what the Awesome 10X life means, how to get started on your journey. We'll discuss everything. Let me discuss to you, okay, this August, we discussed Snowflake IPO. I did discuss Qualcomm. Yes, I did discuss how ordinary people are making millions in the stock market. Of course, that was the Friday free class. All of my Friday classes are designed to explain to you a lot of companies for free. But Growth Generation was featured on my free class picks. We've got, of course, everyday discussions on companies. Playway was discussed. That would be in Poland. I did discuss RC Moto for solar. This was discussed in my free Friday class picks, no-brainer stock picks for easy money. In fact, in my no-brainer stock picks, I did discuss Nintendo, Facebook, Spotify, Microsoft, even Apple, although Apple never got filled. But yeah, there were, of course, I wanted to buy Apple below 400, not at 430 or 440 or 450. So actually, it's been a buy ever since 225 to 250. So it really depends. how fast or how early you have been with us in the Awesome 10X channel. Yeah, so nonetheless, even if you are just watching our videos in August, July, and June, I'm pretty sure that you would be making money. Just follow our Awesome 10X channel. It's an everyday update. So it's every day. Thank you very much for watching this channel. This is the Philippine market update. Do watch our US market update, wherein I'll discuss later all the global stocks that you want to invest in. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.